Mike, check. Justin Hunt, it's all happening. Thanking everybody rocking with the channel. Thanking everybody subscribed through the channel. Everyone who has shared a video, share what we're doing over here is priceless. Big thank you to everyone who's donated. If you'd like to donate, you can hit the Cash App that's right up there, or you can donate through the link tree. Thank you to Richard Hunt, Miss Abby, Sean Robinson, Logan Murdoch, James Wiley, Timothy Peak, Jamal Halton, everyone, those names there, thank you guys so much for donating to this channel. And big thank you to all my new members, the newest members, Laura Approved, Don Lon, Adrian, Andy. Big shout out to Adrian, Andy, with all the ill commentary left in this comment section. 9-second applause. Thank you. So this has been a week of transition, I think, for a number of different reasons. Obviously, this is into the new year for one. And, you know, obviously we've covered the new level of competition that's shown up again in hip hop, thanks to Joey Badass, the ruler's back. But this has also been a time of transition for a number of residents of Southern California. And as most of you probably know, we've had devastating fires here in Southern California, been raging most of the week. I haven't covered this yet. I have had some friends who had to evacuate and spend time here as they figured out where they're going to stay. Fortunately, they didn't lose their homes, which is great news for them, but a number of people have. So I want to just go through some of the news that's been coming out of Southern California to start today's show. So up first, here's California wildfires, what we know about LA fire evacuations, maps, what caused it, who was affected, and more. So here's what happened. Fueled by powerful winds and dry conditions, a series of ferocious wildfires erupted Tuesday and roared across the Los Angeles area, destroying hundreds of homes and killing at least 10 people, including some who died trying to prevent the fires from engulfing their homes. A Los Angeles County fire official said an untold number of significant injuries were linked to two of the fires, and a city official in Los Angeles described Tuesday night as one of the most devastating and terrifying that she had seen in her corner of the city. All right, so take a look at this map. This is the Palisades fire. I mean, this is 32 square miles on this perimeter. I mean, this is in a lot of ways unimaginable. Now, the Palisades is next door to Malibu. Acres burned. The Palisades fire, 20,000 acres burned. This is just devastating. Eaton fire, 14,000 acres burned. Hearst fire, 771 acres. Lydia fire, 395 acres. Kenneth fire, 1,000 acres. And again, here are where all the fires are. The Palisades, the Eaton fire, the Hearst fire, the Lydia fire, the Kenneth fire, the Archer fire. Look at this image. This is Altadena. All right, this is a historically Black community here in Altadena. It's been reported that the first person who died was an elderly Black man who was trying to save his home in which he lived for 55 years. And so, I mean, just look at that devastation. How many people are affected? The fires have forced 180,000 people from their homes since Tuesday. 180,000 people rebuilding at the top of the year. More than 150,000 are under evacuation notices, a number that has grown close to 200,000 people at times as crews battle back the fires. The fires have destroyed entire neighborhoods and blocks, leaving an unknown number of people homeless. As of Thursday night, at least 10 people have died in the fires. The office said it could take weeks to confirm the identities of those killed. Officials said earlier Thursday that 4 people had died in the Eaton fire and 2 in the Palisades fire. It was not immediately clear whether they were included in the 10 from the medical examiner's office. Officials were just beginning to access areas for welfare checks and missing persons reports on Thursday. and they wanted that death toll, and they warned that death toll could grow. How much damage have the fires done? Thousands of structures, which include homes, commercial buildings, and vehicles, have been damaged or destroyed. An aerial survey shows an estimated 5,316 structures destroyed in the Palisades fire. And around 4,000 to 5,000 structures could be damaged or destroyed in the Eaton fire. Video from NBC Los Angeles showed several businesses in a busy commercial area in Altadena in flames, and the Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center burned overnight. Video from Malibu showed beachfront homes reduced to rubble. There's a lot of damage out there, Luna told reporters. The Palisades fire is one of the most destructive in Los Angeles history. The insured losses from this week's fires may exceed $20 billion, and a total economic loss could reach $50 billion. Those losses would far exceed the $12.5 billion in insured damages from the 2018 Camp Fire, which until now was the costliest blaze in the country's history, according to data from Aon. I mean, that's there's been, as climate change continues, we've seen these type of fires or these types of floods or hurricanes, you name it, they seem to increase in severity. $50 billion. $50 billion. There was a number of people who reported that insurance companies canceled fire insurance months ago. They've been canceling. They've refused to insure this region for fire prevention. So these people will have to lean on state resources, which will most likely run dry. So we're talking about thousands, tens of thousands of people who have to find a way to rebuild. What led to the fires? The combination of drought-like conditions. Southern California has had less than 10% average rainfall since October 1st, and powerful offshore winds that hit the region Thursday prompted fire weather that was, in the words of the National Weather Service, about as bad as it gets. The agency issued a red flag warning indicating an increased risk of fire danger to 19 million people. Wind gusts around 70 miles per hour were recorded at several locations across the region. Swain pointed to the weather whiplash California has experienced in recent years, lurching between drought and heavy rainfall, and such swings are a key element of the fire weather gripping the region. When will the fire weather end? Red flag warnings remain in effect across parts of Southern California through 6 p.m. Friday. Officials said the red flag warning will likely go back into effect on Monday. Winds weakened Thursday but picked up again overnight into Friday, with wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour in some areas. Winds are expected to subside slightly in the second half of Friday, offering moments of reprieve. Now, I'm downtown Los Angeles, and so there's no trees here. There's no grass, really. It's all concrete, and we're surrounded by highways. So this particular section of Los Angeles is generally shielded from these types of situations. But there was a severe water shortage, and there's been reports that water pressure was so low firemen weren't able to use fire hydrants to put water out. So this is the result of a lot of macro issues in this state. We have, in my opinion, a disgusting amount of privatized waterways in California. And so as climate continues to change and Southern California continues to deal with these types of extreme weather events, something, in my opinion, needs to change going forward. Because what's the point of paying taxes if the fire people can't put out the fire? Now, this has also affected a number of people in our space. I've had a number of conversations with people, again, artists of all types, who, generally speaking, most people have been all right that I've spoken with, people in my community, in my circle. But Janae Aiko, she posted online that her home burned down Here's TMZ. Janae Aiko is the latest celebrity to lose their home to the huge fires encircling Los Angeles, but thankfully it sounds like everyone's safe despite the scary image she shared. Aiko posted about the news Thursday morning, writing, "The home in Pacific Palisades she shares with her children and all their belongings burned to the ground. And now they've got to start from scratch." Here's a picture of her house here. "My perfect little Pally dream. Sorry we couldn't save you. Thank you for the memories and thank you. And thank God no one was inside. Praying for our neighbors in the whole wide world." Janae also shared a scary picture of the fire overtaking her home, flames consuming the living room in a pic she took from the street. Here's another post. "Me and my children's home is gone, burned to the ground with all the things inside. Lord have mercy. Thankful we still have each other, starting from scratch. My heart is so heavy." That said, Janae's also thinking of others who experienced the tragedy this morning, adding she's praying for everyone who lost their life's work, those who lost their life, praying for my city, praying for the wildlife, and lost pets, praying for the world. She adds she's thankful they all still have each other, but her heart is heavy during this difficult time. Here's another post. "With all due respect, so many of you are loud and wrong. I worked very hard for many years through a lot of pain to provide my children with this house. I put everything into it, praying none of you ever experience this." A few fans called out Aiko for her post, claiming it's easier for her to rebuild because she's rich. Janae fired back on Neighborhood Talk, replying years of hard work is gone in an instant, and she hopes her haters never have to experience something like this. Aiko's been in a relationship with rapper Big Sean since 2016. The two share one child together, unclear if they're weathering this emergency together. Janae Aiko isn't the only star to lose their homes this week. Paris Hilton, Spencer Pratt, Heidi Montag, Anna Faris, Adam Brody, Leighton Meester, Billy Crystal, John Goodman, Eugene Levy, Jeff Bridges, Candy Spelling, and more have lost their homes. So our prayers go out to everyone who is suffering in this time here in Southern California. Here's another post I thought that was really interesting. Now this image here, this video here is from West Hollywood. West Hollywood, I believe that's Runyon Canyon. Very, very famous hiking spot here in Southern California. This is Andre G. He's a writer at Rolling Stone. Fantastic writer, by the way. Fantastic writer. Looks like he was in town staying at a hotel. This is what he posted. "Yeah, this is right near my hotel. Time to make moves." So they had evacuation alerts in West Hollywood, really Hollywood, all the way at least until Sunset and Vine. I used to live on Hollywood and Taft, which is right on the border between Little Armenia. And looking at this was crazy to me because there's been fires before, and there's been large fires before, but I've never seen one that got this close to the city. So it just gives you a better understanding of how widespread these fires were. I mean, that's crazy to see there. The game has stepped up to help victims of devastating fire in Los Angeles. The game is coming to the aid of those affected by the devastating fires in his hometown. As several enormous blazes continue to burn down parts of the city, the Compton Raptor announced on Wednesday that he is helping to provide safety and shelter to families who have been forced to evacuate their homes. That's what's up. 1 second applause again. Me and talent manager Travis Wilson are helping 10 families affected by the fires here get into an Airbnb for a week free of charge. He then directed those interested to message Wilson on Instagram, adding must-have identification or driver's license with address and affected areas. So that's what's up. I mean, there's a lot of people who are stepping up to help those most in need during this tragedy. Chris Brown wants prisoners fighting LA fires to have sentences shaved. So that is something that California does, and they've been doing it for years. They've been using prisoners to fight forest fires across the state. Okay. Now, to me, that is another example of one of the many things that is wrong with the prison system in the United States, the biggest prison system in the world, essentially. Here's what Chris Brown says. He called for prisoners who have enlisted to tackle the Los Angeles wildfires to have their sentences cut. Nearly 800 incarcerated firefighters have been deployed in LA since the enormous blazes began earlier this week and have devastated much of the California city. Brown, who lives in LA, is among those who have called for the inmate firefighters to be rewarded by the justice system for helping out during the disaster. LA, make sure y'all throw a ceremony or parade for these firefighters and first responders after this. Also, the prisoners who were out there risking their lives need time knocked off their sentences, just saying. The R&B singer also expressed skepticism over the origins of the fires, writing in a separate post, "Someone starting these fires, it don't add up." Now, there's been at least one fire that looks like it was arson. There was a fire that was in Studio City that also looked like arson. So there's a lot of details that are still being worked out when it comes to this situation. But it's been reported that the incarcerated firefighters are being paid between $5.80 and $10.24 per day, plus $1 per hour extra when they are responding to an active emergency. I mean, slave wages and life-threatening situations. There's more. Variety reports that the Music Cares program, it pledges $1 million in fire relief efforts. Music Cares is the philanthropic arm of the Recording Academy, which is the organization that produces the Grammys every year. As wildfires continue to roar through Los Angeles and surrounding areas, the Recording Academy and Music Cares have launched the Los Angeles Fire Relief Effort to support music professionals impacted by the crisis and made a combined pledge of $1 million to kick off the efforts. The entire Grammy family is shocked and deeply saddened by the situation that is unfolding in Los Angeles, said Harvey Mason Jr., CEO of the Recording Academy and Music Cares. The music community is being so severely impacted, but we will come together as an industry to support one another. Our organizations exist to serve music people because music is powerful force for good in the world, and we hope the broader industry will now rally to this cause. Laura Segura, executive director of Music Cares, also shared, "We expect the disaster relief efforts in Los Angeles to be extraordinary, if even just on the basis of how many music people have lost their homes in the last day. Music Cares is always committed to ensuring that music professionals are supported in the time of crisis, and we ask for the larger community to donate for those in need at this dire time. Music Cares can help with short-term emergent needs for those currently displaced, then longer-term services as we get a handle on the full extent of how music people are impacted." Let's take an applause for Music Cares. Now, some people, here's a couple of artists, or at least one artist. Here's Meek Mill. Meek Mill, he was heavily criticized for this post. Here's what he said. He said, "Prayers to LA. I never knew about fire trauma until my house caught on fire. I was smelling fire in my sleep, jumping up for 3 years. I didn't know that type of trauma existed. So I was just dealing with it as a kid, ! Now, he was rightfully lampooned for this post, but this reaction I think is the best. This one comes from 4KT, who you hate. He says, "This was all you need to do, bro." And it says, "Prayers to LA." And he just put a line through everything else after that. But this isn't a laughing matter. And this is something that, they're calling it the most expensive fire in the history of Southern California. And so prayers are needed, but people who can actually help, there's a lot of people who need you right now. I mentioned earlier briefly, there's a lot of misinformation that's going around. This is a situation that happened during Hurricane Katrina, where they were saying people were looting. That same thing is happening with this tragedy. Here's a post here. It says, "Breaking: people are actively looting and breaking into homes during the worst natural disaster in the history of California." Here's the community note. "These individuals are not looters. This is footage from KTLA News, who interviewed the homeowner who stated her children and friends were helping her move as posted by the City of Compton councilman. So misinformation is out there too. Everyone needs to be as informed as possible. Look, even Steph is Dope called this out. They saw black people moving things and assumed it was looting. Shout out to the community notes. And here's another clip of that. But this is a sincere tragedy. As climate change continues to happen, it's interesting that it's happening at a time of rising oligarchy. Working people's tax dollars are becoming fodder for the wealthy and for corporations. And I think we see another example of that as the government begins to struggle to help people during natural disasters. We saw this with the hurricane in the Carolinas. We saw this with COVID. We're seeing this with Florida. Insurance companies won't insure certain homes in Florida. They won't provide hurricane insurance. They're cutting fire insurance. So there's an instability here, structural instability in society. And it becomes especially pronounced as we continue to have increasingly damaging natural disasters. A lot of big questions, a lot of big challenges, and we can only conquer them as a community. I'm going to make this video a fundraiser. Big thank you to all the first responders. My prayers go out to everyone who's lost homes, lost their livelihoods, lost family members. My name is Justin Hunt. Like, subscribe to the channel, follow at The Company Man on everything. It's all happening.
Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. The mathematical breakdown of this mighty game of rap we in. It's boom bapping. Systematical culture views us radical, it's all happening. Shaking hands and dapping it. Life through the lens of hip hop, from trip hop to yes, dog, you don't stop, you don't stop. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening.